Hello everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Karen. Today we are looking at part 1 of golf, but not as you know it. Well, I really have to admit here, I am not a huge fan of golf, and I don't really know how to play, but I know that you have played, right?
I have played golf a few times in my life. I am not a golfer, but I do, I watch it occasionally. It's a sport that requires a lot of dedication, a lot of practice.
And a lot of walking, of course.
And a lot of walking, that's true. And it also requires a golf course. And those are not easy things to find all the time. But yeah, it's a sport that millions of people play around the world. It's very popular in Asia, in Europe, and of course in North America. And I guess it's also a good sport because no matter what your age, you can play golf.
I guess you're right, even when you're 70 or 80.
Sure,
so it's not something that is too hard, you just have to walk.
Yeah, you can walk, or even they have those little electric cars so you can drive around.
Oh, I want to drive those.
I think driving the cars is the most fun part of golf.
Did you do that when
I've done that before, yes.
Okay.
Yes, one time I had to go golfing with my friends, but I had a motorcycle accident right before. Darn, I couldn't play golf. I wasn't really disappointed, but I could drive the car, so I was very happy about that.
So you were the driver.
I was the golf chauffeur for the day, yeah. But really, golf is not about driving electric cars around, even though that's fun. It's about hitting a little ball into a little hole and doing it without getting really angry, because it can be a very tricky game. It looks so simple to play.
That's true.
But as soon as you try it once, you go, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought.
Even if when the ball is so close to the hole, it does not mean that it's very easy.
There are many ways to make a mistake and make sure that that ball does never get in that hole as you go crazy.
It will go, they're so close, and it will go around the hole and then come back again.
Absolutely, that happens all the time. All right, so let's find out about golf, but not as you know it. I'm curious about this article. It's going to be interesting.
Me too.
It's a bright, sunny day, so how about a few rounds of golf? No, not that kind of golf. Disc golf. If you're worried that you don't have the proper equipment, don't be. You don't need expensive clubs to play disc golf. All you need is a steady hand, good aim, and a plastic disc.
All right, so let's learn about golf, but not as you know it. So this is going to be taking the sport of golf, I guess, and putting an interesting twist on it. So even if you've watched golf and like, I don't know if I want to do that, or like me, you've watched golf and said, I don't like being this angry when I'm playing a sport. Maybe this type of golf is perfect. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I know. Okay, well, let's start learning. It's a bright, sunny day.
Okay.
So how about a few rounds of golf? What do you think?
Yeah, all right, okay.
No, not that kind of golf. Disc golf. Oh, disc golf? I have never heard of disc golf. If you're worried that you don't have the proper equipment, don't be. Okay, so when you say, if you're worried that you don't have the proper equipment are the kind of things that you need for a certain purpose. So if you want to play disc golf, maybe there's some tools, some things that you're going to need to play this sport.
Absolutely, because that's one of the things with golf. Some of the equipment, the things that you need to play the game, specifically those sticks, those clubs, they can be very expensive, right?
Very expensive.
The article talks about next. You don't need expensive clubs to play disc golf. That's right. You don't have to, spend thousands of dollars just to get the clubs to play. What do you need then? All you need is a steady hand, good aim, and a plastic disc. One of those flying discs. We sometimes call them frisbees. But yes, a flying disc or a plastic disc is a very cheap thing to get. Much cheaper than a set of golf clubs, that's for sure.
I can afford that.
I could definitely, even have one at home sitting somewhere in a box. But yes, you also need good aim. That's also true for golf. You want to make sure the ball goes where you want it to go. And it said here you need a steady hand. If you have a steady hand, that basically means you're in control of your hand. You have very good hand-eye coordination. If you hold your hand out, it's not shaking like this, right? So you need a steady hand to be an artist. You might need a steady hand to be a doctor or a surgeon. If you're a pilot or a race car driver, you need good control. You need a steady hand. So basically something that's reliable and something that won't make mistakes or cause accidents or things like that. He took steady steps towards the finish line. So he wasn't tired, his legs weren't wobbling because he was about to fall down. No, he was strong and determined and getting to that finish line on his strong legs.
And in order to play disc golf, you're going to need steady hands, but you also need a plastic disc, right? So plastic, that's an adjective. Plastic is a kind of material that is made by people, and it can come in different forms and different colors, and they're usually very, very light in weight. So you could have like a plastic bag, and which is not really good for our environment, or you could have like a plastic box. You can put some food inside. So for example, Calvin carried a plastic bag that was full of bananas.
Pretty common when you're shopping, but you're right. We want to recycle plastic. It's made from oil. It doesn't break down naturally. But you're right. It's light, it's strong, it's cheap. So we have a lot of plastic stuff. And I guess if you made your disc out of glass, that wouldn't be good.
It will break easily.
If you made your disc out of metal, it would crash to the ground. So plastic is probably the best material for these discs. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Then we'll be back to find out more about disc golf.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hualien。我们这2天的课程是要介绍一种蛮好玩的运动，叫做 disc golf 飞盘高尔夫。如果你担心说没有合适的装备，完全不用担心，因为你不需要那些昂贵的球杆来玩飞盘高尔夫，你只需要稳定的手、准确的目标，还有一个塑胶飞盘。我们来看单字 steady 是形容稳定的、稳固的。那它的副词 steadily 就可以表达稳定地或是持续地。Mike 老师在讲解时，他提到 wobble。W-O-B-B-L-E wobble 就是摇晃摇摆的那种意思，还有提到 hand-eye coordination 是手眼协调，其中的 coordination 是拼作 C-O-O-R-D-I-N-A-T-I-O-N， 那它表示协调，身体的协调能力。下一个单字 plastic， 它是形容词，形容塑胶的、塑胶制的。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 if 主词加动词，逗号祈使句。我们用 if 在引导条件句的时候，用来描述未来可能发生情况。那这时候如果把主要子句改用祈使句去表达，常常就是用来表达建议或者是给予指示。我们看到英文有一个句子，他说If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. 怕热就不要进厨房。那这就用来指说一个人没有办法承受压力或问题的话，就应该罢手不要做了。如果经不起考验，就不要答应做这件事。好，第二重点是 all somebody need is 名词，这是表达某人只需要点点点。句型当中的 all 是当先行词，表示一切、全部，然后用来强调说某事是唯一重要的事。然后它后面其实有省略关系代名词 that， 这边特别注意 all 它是视为单数，所以最后我们是搭配一个单数动词。举例来说 all I need is your trust， 我只需要你的信任。好，另外 is 后面我们还可以接不定词片语 to be 来当做主词补语，那就会写作 all somebody need is to be。举例来说 all you need is to believe in yourself， 你只需要相信自己。好，接回到课文中。
As its name suggests, disc golf is similar to traditional golf. Like a traditional golf course, a disc golf course has 9 or 18 holes, or targets. The holes are played in order, and each hole has a starting area. From the starting area, players take turns throwing their disc at the target. The winner is the person who completes the course in the fewest throws. disc golf's origins can be traced back to the early 1900s when metal lids were thrown into circles on school grounds in Canada. Over time, however, this practice died out. Then, in the 1960s, the game resurfaced in California, and it grew steadily in popularity. Today, there are over 14,000 courses and several major championships around the world.
Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we were learning about golf, but not just the traditional type of golf, right? Where you use the clubs that are really, really expensive. So not a lot of people can afford it. We were talking about disc golf. And then you could use a plastic disc, and you just need to have a good aim and also steady hands. But we still don't know how to play disc golf yet.
Well, it's actually very similar to normal golf. They've just sort of taken the same type of rules and adapted them or changed them to allow you to play the game with a disc. As its name suggests, the article says, disc golf is similar to traditional golf. So it's like traditional golf in many ways. Like a traditional golf course, a disc golf course has 9 or 18 holes or targets. That's a good point here. In golf, you're trying to get that little white ball into a hole, but of course, a flying disc won't fit into a little hole, and that would be really hard. So they have a different type of target, but you have 9 different targets, or maybe 18. That makes up one game, and that's basically a lot of the same rules are just copied from traditional golf. And that's, as the name suggests, disc golf is very similar to the traditional golf. When something is suggested, or when we suggest something, we're basically putting that idea forward. It's kind of information that we feel we don't really have to say because it's quite clear. You can see it for yourself. You can figure it out for yourself. For example, here's a good one. The dark clouds in the sky suggest that a storm is coming. When you see dark clouds in the sky, you don't really feel like you have to turn on the TV or open up a weather app to say, oh, what's going to happen with the weather? No, it's pretty clear. A lot of the evidence, a lot of the facts are right there. You just need to kind of figure it out, but it's not that hard.
That's right. And we have this vocabulary word here, target, and that is a noun. So we said, in traditional golf, we're going to get the little white ball into the hole. But in disc golf, we're actually looking at the targets, right? So target is something that you to shoot at or something you're aiming for. So for example, like an archer's target would be hitting the bullseye on the board, right? Okay, so in our example sentence, it says, he tried to hit his target with a stone. So maybe his target is something that he wants to shoot at. He's aiming for that target.
Exactly. And many sports, of course, are based on trying to hit a target. In soccer, the target is the goal. It's very big. In basketball, the target is the net, is the basket, the hoop, and it's rather small. But in all those games, you're trying to get something into something or to hit something. That's your target.
That's right. So let's learn the rules of this game.
Yeah.
The holes are played in order, and each hole has a starting area.
Okay, that's just like golf.
Exactly. So from the starting area, players take turns throwing their disc at the target. Okay, I get that. The winner is the person who completes the course in the fewest throws. Ah, just like golf, right?
Just like golf, exactly right. Now, when did this sport start? Well, actually a lot longer ago than you might guess. Disc golf's origins can be traced back to the early 1900s.
Wow.
So more than 100 years ago, when metal lids were thrown into circles on school grounds in Canada.
I didn't know that.
This sport comes from where we're from, and we didn't know that. But then again, a Canadian invented basketball too.
I didn't know that either.
Right?
Wow.
So we are well known for inventing sports that nobody remembers that we invented them. All right, so we can trace the origins back to the early 1900s. When you trace something, I mean, this could be drawing when you use thin paper and basically follow the lines of a picture underneath. that's tracing. But also when we talk about history, when we're sort of following history back, when we're following the things that happened, the timeline, we might say you might trace your family history back to some famous person who lived hundreds of years ago. And scientists, archaeologists, historians will trace where things started, where they first happened, traditions and how they've changed over time. And as you go back, it's like you're following this trail back in time. For example, the tradition can be traced back to hundreds of years ago. It might have changed over time, it might have gone to different places, but if we follow the path, this is where it leads us.
That's right. And it's quite important to have different traditions, right? In every culture, we all have different traditions. So over time, however, this practice died out. Then in the 1960s, the game resurfaced in California and it grew steadily in popularity. Oh, okay. So it kind of disappeared for a while and then resurfaced, meaning it kind of came back, right? Yep. So today, there are over 14,000 courses and several major championships around the world.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I had no idea it was so popular, but it does make sense that the modern version is traced back to California in the 60s. We can also trace surfing, the popularity of surfing, skateboarding, things like that. And I also remember as a kid, people doing flying disc tricks with their dogs. That's also, I think, something that started around the same time in California. Those flying discs are wonderful toys. You can play them with the beach, at the park, turn it into a more organized thing like disc golf. So
I would really love to try disc golf.
I think it sounds like something that would be quite a lot of fun. A little bit of exercise, but not a lot of running around.
That's right.
I think more fun and probably less frustrating than traditional golf, at least for me. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today, but we'll have more about this very interesting sport for you coming up tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.
See you guys next time.
飞盘高尔夫，那顾名思义，它就跟传统的高尔夫相似。飞盘高尔夫球场有9个或是18个洞，或者是要说目标啦。那这些洞或是目标就是按顺序来进行。那每一个洞都会有开盘区，从这个开盘区开始，玩家就要轮流把他们飞盘投向目标，然后以最少的投掷次数投完整场的人就是获胜者咯。那课文接着写到说，飞盘高尔夫的起源可以追溯到20世纪初。当时在加拿大的学校操场上有一种游戏，就是把金属盖扔进圈圈里。那后来这种做法就逐渐消失了。那在1960年代，这个游戏又在加州再度出现，变得越来越受欢迎。好，单字 suggest 它是动词，表示显示、表明或者是暗示。Mike 老师讲解时，他用到片语 put forward。Put forward 它可以表达提出，像是提出意见想法等等的那种意思。那么 target 是名词，表示目标、靶或是对象。Karen 老师讲解时，他说弓箭手要瞄准靶心嘛。那我们学一下 archer archer 就是弓箭手。那么 bullseye 就是靶心，我们可以用 hit the bullseye 来表达正中靶心、正中红心。下一个单字 trace 它是动词，表示追溯、追查或是跟着什么的步伐、足迹。当我们用 trace something back to 就可以表达追溯某事物到什么什么。Mike 老师在讲解的时候，他有提到考古学家的英文 archaeologist， 那我们也顺便学一下考古学则是 archaeology。好，那这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 when 当关系副词可以引导表示时间的形容词子句，去修饰或是补述说明跟时间有关的先行词。when 相当于 in which 或是 on which 或是 at which。 好，以下介绍2种用法。第一种是当先行词它是不特定的时间时，我们 when 引导的关系子句就要去限定它的范围哦，是要修饰先行词。那么 when 前面不加逗号，属于限定用法。举例来说， Pam still remembers the day when she first met her husband。 Ham 还记得她初次见到她老公的那一天。那第二个用法是，当先行词它是特定时间时，我们就不用限定它的范围啦。那 when 引导的关系子句是用来补充说明、补述说明先行词。那 when 的前面要用逗号，这是属于非限定用法。像 Gina likes to take a walk in the evening when the weather is cooler. Gina 喜欢在晚上散步，那时候啊天气比较凉爽。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
It's a bright, sunny day, so how about a few rounds of golf? No, not that kind of golf. Disc golf. If you're worried that you don't have the proper equipment, don't be. You don't need expensive clubs to play disc golf. All you need is a steady hand, good aim, and a plastic disc. As its name suggests, disc golf is similar to traditional golf. Like a traditional golf course, a disc golf course has 9 or 18 holes, or targets. The holes are played in order, and each hole has a starting area. From the starting area, players take turns throwing their disc at the target. The winner is the person who completes the course in the fewest throws. Disc golf's origins can be traced back to the early 1900s, when metal lids were thrown into circles on school grounds in Canada. Over time, however, this practice died out. Then, in the 1960s, the game resurfaced in California, and it grew steadily in popularity. Today, there are over 14,000 courses and several major championships around the world.
I'm excited. Today we are taking a trip to this host's favorite place in Taiwan, Hualien. Now, we all know that over the years, Hualien has gone through many changes, and the government has made a big effort to connect all of the cultural sites in Hualien, so it's easy to go there and have a really good cultural experience. From Japanese-style dormitories to the Pine Garden to Hualien Railway Culture Park, there is so much to see and enjoy. So why don't we watch the video and find out more?
There are many historical sites in Hualien. They witness the development and changes Hualien has gone through, and let people know more about the stories behind these places. During the Qing dynasty, the Hualien River estuary was the site of the main settlement on Hualien Harbor Street, and the guarding place of the soldiers. However, as the Japanese government moved the military camp, this area gradually lost its value. Through project planning, the Hualien County government has connected all the historical sites and tried to save these parts of their culture and memories. From south to north, you can see several famous Hualien relics, such as the Japanese-style dormitories by the Maluan River. The dormitories were for the Japanese officers to live in. At that time, people only knew that a high-ranking general was stationed here, so it was called the General's House. In addition, there is Pine Garden. It used to be the highest military command center of the Japanese Army in Hualien. It was also a place for the officers to rest, because of its peaceful environment. Now it is open to the public, to enjoy the historical and artistic atmosphere at the same time. The nearby Hualien Railway Culture Park was registered as a historical building. It was the old Hualien Railway Station in the past. After the completion of the North Link Line, it connected Gozai Way, Hualien Railway Station, Suchi Cultural Park, and so on from east to west. From port to land, by connecting historical relics and modern buildings, we can better understand the development history of Hualien City, and further love the homeland and protect the culture.
There is so much to see in Hualien. My favorite is probably Pine Garden. I haven't been there, but I plan to go because it looks really beautiful and relaxing. I'm also into trains, so Gotta make a trip to the Hualien Railway Culture Park. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will see you next time.